Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for attending. We're going to start in just a minute here to give everybody another opportunity to jump in. So we'll start just a minute after 1. Thanks. Good afternoon again, everybody. Thanks for jumping in on this GeoPDF Publisher for ArcGIS Pro tutorial webinar. A lot of things have changed, so we're going to run through some of that technology for you this afternoon to help get you started. My name is Scott Lee. I run the GeoPDF side of a business for TerraGo, primarily in the defense and the intelligence industry sectors, but we have, as many of you know, thousands of customers around the world and domestically in the United States. For your information, everybody is on mute that is not presenting, but we encourage interaction for the webinar. There is a chat function that's available in Zoom. If we can get you to use that, we'll go ahead and try to respond to those questions or comments as we go through the webinar. We're fortunate to have a couple of people helping us out today. Madison Basil's up in Northern Virginia. She's running logistics for the webcast today. We also have our senior project manager, John Mueller, who's been with the company for a number of years as well. He's going to actually be doing the demonstration for us. Our contact informations are there on the screen for you. So if you have any questions or if you just want to jot down my contact information, please shoot that information across. It was in the invitation as well. So for the big news today, thank you very much. The GeoPDF Publisher for ArcGIS Pro is now available. This has taken a number of man-years to get up and running. We had a very successful beta program, received some good feedback on that program, and the products. We're actually circling the wagons now to get out a hot fix for some things that we've noticed through the beta program and through some of our initial evaluation users. We've had a lot of interest in this. We have a couple of hundred people that registered for this webcast actually. And so, and a number of trial downloads for the product. And I'll talk about that trial download process at the conclusion of the demonstration. Thanks again, but the product is available on the website, and like I said, I'll get into more details on that. So the first thing is, what does this actually mean for ArcGIS Pro users? So now Esri has not discontinued support for the standard ArcMap and ArcCatalog product. But as you'll see on the screen, the anticipated schedule, this is pulled from the Esri website, they plan on retiring that product in 2026. Now, there will be online support resources, but they are encouraging all of their partners and customers to go ahead and move to ArcGIS Pro. It's a really powerful tool. I've been in there myself and messed around with the software, and it's really nice new interface and a lot of new capabilities, and I encourage you all to go ahead and make that move. TerraGo specifically is putting a tremendous investment inside of this product as it matures. And we do anticipate that the majority, if not all, of those customers will be moving to ArcGIS Pro. A question that you may have is this a new product? Absolutely it is. Like I said, there have been a number of man years that have been invested in the development of the technology. And just like with the GeoPDF technology, when you have that our GeoPDF toolbar installed on any user's workstation, you really have a collaborative environment, a geospatial collaboration environment for any skill set of user. They don't have to be GIS experts. They can just use the product, use that GeoPDF out of ArcGIS Pro with the TerraGo toolbar and have all of that true collaboration capability again. So what is new inside of the GeoPDF publisher for ArcGIS Pro? If you have not already downloaded and installed ArcGIS Pro, you'll notice that the environment is much different. They've adopted a ribbon type interface. Many software companies have done that just for ease of use and navigation. TerraGo has implemented that capability as well. So when you download and install the GeoPDF publisher for ArcGIS Pro, you will have a TerraGo tab available to you on the right-hand side. You'll see there. Many of the features and functions of the tool set are going to be right up front for you for compressing vector graphics and manipulating your imagery, adding pages, identifying the attribute information you'd like to deliver with your GeoPDF product. And it's all in a nice, clean environment. We're continuing to do enhancements for that as well to make more of the tools up front and you'll easily be able to manipulate the information and configure your export. For the export configuration, we've fully embraced and adopted GeoPackage, as many of you know. That has been implemented with ArcGIS Pro. So you actually have a self-contained, you're not just delivering a representation of the data out of ArcGIS Pro, you're actually receiving the data in an attached SQLite database. And John's going to show you that during the demonstration. We've also transitioned all of our help documentation to online. So whenever you select the help icon up there on the top left of the ribbon, it'll launch you to our customer portal center, and you can get access to all of the information about turning on and enabling the add-in. That's one of the common questions that we have actually received is, how do I enable that add-in? And John will go through that in the demonstration for you as well. So we've tried to make everything as intuitive and as user-friendly as possible when it comes to exporting your GeoPDF products. Again, there continuing to be enhancements and fixes. We're going to be doing the best that we can to stay up to date with the latest versions of the ArcGIS Pro environment. Currently, we support ArcGIS Pro version 2.4, and there are going to be, as business partners and technology partners with Esri, we have a much closer relationship with them to be able to get their beta versions and implement that into our engineering paths to make sure that we continue to support all of the latest Esri releases. Export actually takes place from the layout view in ArcGIS Pro. There are several options that are available there for optimizing your imagery or your vector data. There are advanced layering capabilities in the tool set as well. And again, we have fully embraced the OGC specification for GeoPackage. So that data, again, it's not just a representation of the data, it is the data, and it's carried across with the PDF as an attachment. And it's a .gpkg attachment. With that, what I'd like to do is go ahead and turn it over to John and have him go ahead and kick off the demonstration. Again, I see a couple of questions already coming in. I'll try to do my best and answer those questions as they come across.
All right, sorry, I haven't figured out how to use the mute button yet. Okay, so hi, my name is John Mueller, and we're going to be kind of going through a quick demonstration of the GeoPDF publisher for ArcGIS Pro extension. So I've opened up Arc Pro here, and I've got a document that I can look at real quick. It's just a demonstration of inside the Washington D.C. area. As Scott had referenced, the Terrago toolbar is actually going to be a ribbon, and it's going to be across the top here, and it's going to be available across this little tab. When you first install our software and you open it up, you might find that it's grayed out. And in that instance, you still need to enable it. So if you go back over to the Projects tab and you scroll down to a place called Licensing, it's going to talk a little bit about obviously what license you're using for Arc Pro, some extensions that may or may not be available to you. And then where it says external extensions, you've got the GeoPDF publisher, and you just want to enable that guy. With that enabled, you can go back now to the map project. And if I activate the Terrago ribbon, you're going to see these options now are enabled. So, and with that, what I'll do is I'll just go across left to right, and we'll talk a little bit about each one. So the about is just that. It gives you a little bit more information relative to the information, the extension of your software, along with some additional contact information. So anytime you do run into some issues with our software, make sure you have the version number handy along with this date. This will help our support folks understand, what you're using and possibly resolve any issues you may be having a little bit faster. Along with this then is also the website and some additional phone contact information. Let's see, the next one over is our help document, and this is a new help portal that we've stood up specifically for publisher, and this section is actually for publisher for ArcGIS Pro. But it'll go in here and it'll answer some questions that you may have relative to just about the extension itself, talk about system requirements, how to activate it, enable it like we just walked through, and then kind of walks through some of the other options as far as configuring and exporting. There's a couple of other things in here as far as how to review log files, export GeoPDFs, and then getting started. So all that information is going to be available to you through this little help icon here. Then you've got this dialog called Preferences. Preferences, it's going to be quite similar to what you typically would see in the ribbon itself. But with this preference dialog, what it does is it is what would be the defaults for a brand new map project. So on the desktop side of things, I know a lot of you are familiar with the map document itself, the MXD. Esri has shifted from that into a thing called a project. So inside of a project, you're going to have your map frames, your layouts, and it's all going to be saved as a map project. So within that map project, on a new one, you can utilize these defaults for anything that gets newly created. When you're going through, and now you've got some additional options here. So for imagery, for vectors, some additional PDF options, layers and attributes. The values that I set across this ribbon are actually going to save with the project itself. So if I've got imagery attached, I can set the DPI, this compress vector graphics, and embed all document fonts. That enhances, well, first off, it helps to reduce the size of the document, the PDF itself. It compresses it a bit more as far as the compressed vector graphics. The embed all document fonts enables the user that may not have Esri installed on their PC to maintain the symbology that you've built. So So they don't necessarily have to have the fonts installed on the machine. As long as you embed it with the PDFs, they can continue to use the symbology that you've set. The next one over is the PDF options, and in here we've added some additional functionality where you can actually append or prepend a non-spatial PDF document. And for example, this might be something that you want to have a splash page on when you open up the GeoPDF. You might want to share some information about the intended use of the map itself. As far as the append, you might want to include either metadata or some additional information, let's say about the legend, maybe a little bit more detailed information beyond just maybe a small legend that you might have in the marginalia of your map page. So here's where you would do that, and you just click on this little button with the 3 dots. It'll open up a folder, a browser. You browse to the location, you select the document you would like to have appended, and then you hit OK. And then the next option on this list would be make compatible with. There's not a, I mean, I'm sure there's a few people out there that still have older versions of toolbars, but for the majority of us, I would just suggest leaving the toolbar 5+ OGC preferred value in there. That's gonna cover, like I said, 99% of all of our users. The next one over here on the right is layers. So we can manipulate how the layers are going to be presented to the intended user. So in here, I've got the ability to basically just populate the layers inside the GeoPDF to mimic what you would see in ArcGIS, or ArcPro, I should say. So in here, though, I want to make this a little simpler for my intended user. So I'm going to get rid of some things that I don't want them to interact with the layers. So the marginalia or surrounds, they don't need to turn these things on and off. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that group. And this grid overlay that I've got on the map frame, again, there's really no reason to have them interact with it as far as layers go. So I've got my list here: airports, manholes, zoning, buildings, and roads. And I'm going to make this a little bit simpler as well. I'm going to ungroup, unwrap the group contents here so that I don't have a hierarchy, like a parent-child structure. And then I can do the same thing for the map frame. So I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to unwrap the menu contents. And so really I've only got those items in there that I want the user to really interact with. And I can also, besides these things being all on by default, I also may want to turn something off that may have a long drawing time. So let's say the zoning layer, I can actually turn that off as far as initially. So the layer's still available. I can turn it on and off how I see fit, but it may not be necessary for my user to see this right off the bat. So I made my changes to my layers that I want to present to my user. I've also got the ability to, up here in the left corner, to layer the feature and labels independently. So I like to combine them into a single layer. So I'm going to leave that off, but there are some instances where that might be useful to some. So that's an option for you. Once you're finished here, you can hit OK. And the last set of options that you've got are attributes before we do the export. So if I activate this attribute dialog, you're going to see that I've got all my layers here that are going to be available within the GeoPDF. My output options are either none or GeoPackage, and Scott talked a little bit about the GeoPackage, what that means, and how it's actually attached to the GeoPDF itself. And in here, I can basically just turn these things on and off. So if I want to include everything in here, I can turn everything on. Or if I don't want to share my roads and zoning with the intended users as far as the GeoPackage data, I can turn those items off. There's still a layer representation of those features. It's just not included in the GeoPackage. The one other thing that I would kind of touch on with the GeoPackage is in order to increase or decrease the size of the PDF itself, I would recommend going into the attribute tables of the layers that you're going to be exporting to GeoPackage, and possibly turning off attributes that aren't needed. So I've got this, let's say this particular attribute, some kind of a code. I can do a right mouse click and I can actually say hide field. That field will not be included in the export to GeoPackage. And so it's just a nice little trick to kind of minimize the impact of increased file size. Let's say, and you don't have to do it one by one. You can actually select several columns and hit hide. So maybe a layer might have maybe let's say 100 different attributes. Really, you only want to pull out maybe 20 of those. I would turn off those attributes that are not applicable to your intended use. So that's a little bit on that, and then I can hit export here. So the export is going to bring up a little dialog. It's going to ask me where I'd like to save the file, and I can go ahead and name it. I select the file type as a Terrago GeoPDF, and I hit save. So it does the export, and for time here, I'm going to go ahead and just open something up that I've pre-baked, and so here's what would be exported out of ArcGIS Pro, and I got this opened in Adobe Reader. Inside of here, I've got a Terrago toolbar, and I can do a few things just like I would normally be able to do. I can, if I activate the toolbar itself, I can actually navigate across the map, and I see my X and Y locations down below. If I activate the Geo tool button itself, and I drop a point at a particular location, I can right mouse click and do a thing called Google Map It, which allows me to send an X and Y location directly to Google Maps, just to kind of do a simple check on how accurate my registration is of the map. So that's a pretty good representation there. I can also, with the toolbar, I can come in and I can use this thing called an identify tool. And what this does is this allows me to interact with the GeoPackage. So if I select a particular item on the map, in this case it was a building, down below here in this list are the attributes that I exported out from ArcGIS Pro. And they're all listed here. Along with that, there is also the ability, obviously, to do a geo measure. So I can do a length in here as well. I can say, okay, if I start this intersection and I come down here, how much distance do I have? So it's a little less than a half a mile. So I can run around the block, let's say 4 or 5 times to get my exercise in for the day, and that'll reach my mileage goal. I can do all my geo marks in here as well, and I can send those to my other GIS type of applications back to Esri or other collaborative applications that I might want to do. And then also, so that was the toolbar. I can come over here and also look at the PDF structure itself. Within the PDF, I've got pages. So I've got this page that we've been interacting with already, but then I've got my second page, which is the help file that I felt was important to share with my user. And in here, you can also see that the hyperlinks are maintained. So if I want to come in here and select on activate, it jumps back to my help page, and it talks a little bit about activating the license. Along with the page layout, here's my GeoPackage. So let me go back up to my map here. If I go to my geo package, if I can double click on the geo package itself, it actually will open up if you've got this installed. I've got a little DB viewer on my machine, and it can actually interact with the SQL database, SQLite database that the geo package is contained within. So here are my buildings and my manholes, and I can actually interact with the data itself. But this is where you could utilize this geo package then to incorporate into another GIS type of application, and it's only the data that is within the map content. So this thing we would call a neat line. And then obviously we can also go down then to the layers, and I've got my layers in here that I've had, and there's my zoning. It was initially I set that to off, but I can come in here and turn those on as well as interacting with the other layers in the PDF itself. So that is a quick overview of our tools and our toolbars, and basically how you would go about exporting out and interacting with Terrago's publisher for ArcGIS Pro. And at this point, I'll pass this back over to Scott, and we can maybe open up for some additional questions or anything else that Scott would like to talk about. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Sorry about that. I was muted. So there have been a couple of questions inside of the queue. Do we support integration with other GIS software, or is it exclusively with Esri's ArcGIS Pro? Right now, it is exclusively. This is a product that is built specifically for ArcGIS Pro. There is the thought of developing the SDK. That we do have an SDK that is available already, but nothing specific to ArcGIS Pro. If you have some other questions or want some more details, Christopher, you can reach out to me directly, and we can talk about the SDK and those capabilities. Another question was, do we need to buy a new GeoPDF publisher for ArcGIS Pro license, or can you use your existing publisher license? This is a brand new product, so the short answer is no, you cannot. It's a completely different engineering path, completely different development cycle. They are completely separate products, so they are licensed separately right now. A question about cost. We sell this on an annual basis, and the software cost is $1,500 per year. Go ahead and get that out of the way there. If you have questions, there's volume discounting that is available as well. There was a question from Carlo about, is it possible to calculate an area within the polygon within the GeoPDF? And absolutely, yes, you can. With the GeoPDF toolbar, there are linear measurement capabilities and area measurement capabilities. So John just showed you the linear capability around the block, but you could also calculate polygon areas as well. Is there a mobile capability? Yes, there is. That is actually in development right now. We do have an older product that is an application for Android and iOS, but we will be releasing a strictly mobile application, a GeoPDF mobile application before the end of the year. With that being said, if you have your, obviously it works, the GeoPDF toolbar works on a laptop, or a Windows device. Windows 10 location services are available as well. So the mobile application, the GeoPDF app itself, will be available by the end of the year. Any plan to support Socket GXP? We do actually support Socket GXP right now. There is a 2D publisher for Socket GXP that is integrated into their software application. We have a very good business partner relationship with BAE Systems, and that has been leveraged for over a decade now. And you can create a 2D GeoPDF, just like what you see coming straight out of ArcGIS Pro, but you can also frame up your 3D data in Socket GXP and create a 3D GeoPDF product. Mr. Martinez, as your question about the AGC's agreement, I'll get back to you directly with that. I did want to make a couple of comments about the GeoPackage capability as well. It's a really nice way to be able to, many of our customers have sensitive data. And so leveraging that GeoPackage gives you the ability and turning on and off which attributes you actually want to be available in the resulting product. GeoPackage is ideal for that. And again, it's not, I think this is the third time I said this, it's not a representation of the data, you actually have the data. So being able to transfer content and data from geospatial analyst to geospatial analyst, or geospatial analyst to imagery analyst, it's a really streamlined way to be able to transfer and collaborate with content. So I really encourage you to download this version of GeoPDF Publisher for ArcGIS Pro. You should see on the website there, there is a free trial that is available. It's for 21 days. So you can go ahead and download and activate that trial. You get watermarks on your resulting GeoPDF, but if you have an extenuating circumstance and want to get in touch with me about getting a temp license that doesn't provide watermarks, depending on the circumstances, I'll probably be able to help you with that as well. You can download a free trial from the website. Like I said, just terragotech.com, and there is a products tab or a products option at the top of the website. Just pull that arrow down and select GeoPDF from the products. And then when you do that, you'll be launched to a different page, and just scroll down. It's about half the way down on the page to download the free trial. I believe I've gotten most of the questions here. The TerraGo toolbar to see the GeoPDF is free, or do you provide a number of customers that could use the toolbar? The GeoPDF toolbar to see the GeoPDF and leverage all of the collaboration capability, the Google Map It function and the markup function, being able to take measurements, all of those really nice things to collaborate on top of the GeoPDF. It is free. It is free for individuals to download and install on their machine. So we actually give away the collaboration environment to leverage all of the GeoPDFs that you as geospatial analysts, engineers, imagery analysts create. We do have several agreements with larger organizations to provide support and maintenance for that product as well. That's a case-by-case instance, but many of the largest government agencies, specifically in the United States, although we do have agreements internationally as well, are for larger organizations. We will be having, just speaking directly to that GeoPDF toolbar to see the GeoPDFs, that plugs into Adobe Reader. It also plugs into the paid-for version of Adobe Acrobat Pro. So it will work in both environments. And we will be announcing another webcast here in the coming weeks that will go through all of those collaboration capabilities in the GeoPDF toolbar in much more detail. And we'll show you that capability with a product generated directly out of ArcGIS Pro as well. Let's see if there are other questions. I believe I have answered all of them. If something else comes in, we'll capture that and make sure we get in touch with you. Again, my contact information is available there, and John's is as well. Would really ask or request that you get in touch with me directly if you have any questions. John works on several pieces of our business and is not the single point of contact there, but I can help you with any sort of support issues or pricing information, technical details, system requirements, etc. With that, we'll go ahead and close up. I believe I will give you about half of our 15 minutes left from the webcast. Thank you again very much for attending. It's great to have so many people attend this webinar. We're looking forward to supporting you guys. It's been asked for quite a while. And so we're very proud. I'm proud, very proud of the engineering team here at Terrago, and it's a complete team effort on getting a new product up and created and made visible to the public. So thank you again to all of the engineering staff at Terrago, everybody at Terrago, and thank you all for attending. We really appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.